what do you see as the impact on a CBDC between a country that is pro Bitcoin and a country that is hostile to Bitcoin? Do you think it has an impact on their CBDC?
Absolutely, because it's not like Bitcoin offers a small premium over holding the CBDC. It offers a life change. It's basically like the best investment of all time, right? And I have a feeling that it's not going to settle down for a while. I mean, it could go to a million, even 10 million or whatever, right? Like a million is no longer a crazy number to put out there for Bitcoin. 10 million is no longer a crazy number. It's crazier, but it's not completely insane. We don't know where it's going to get to. And even if it only gives you like an appreciation of a few percent a year when it hits its terminal price, that's more than almost any cash-like thing will give. So there'll be an enormous incentive for people to be able to partake in the upside, right? And so any country that doesn't embrace that, like they just have to give up control, and they give up some degree of control to get financial upside for their people. Now, conversely, there are downsides of giving up that control. I'm not saying that there's zero. There's folks who can send money into the country who might be bad actors. Like that is a real thing. It happens rarely, but it's the kind of thing that people are really scared of. And on the third hand, the more you can't, if you try to quote ban legal use of cryptocurrency, the criminals aren't going to be deterred from that, right? Like, or rather, this is like only if crypto is criminalized, only criminals will use crypto. I think there's some truth to that. You can argue that criminals can't swim among the law-abiding and so on, but I think that on balance, you want to legalize crypto and take the good with the bad and use the money that you get from the good to figure out other solutions for the bad. You know what I mean? Because you just can't give up $1 trillion that easily. There's other ways of solving problems. I mentioned this before, but banning crypto to prevent crypto crimes is like banning driving to prevent drunk driving. There's other ways of going about it. There's too much cost associated with that. So I think that's the issue basically. I think CBDCs are actually a good idea. It's actually good in many ways because it moves the world towards a pro-crypto direction. It is something where, I mean, that's a huge, like, just think about that, right? Satoshi's white paper, and not just his white paper, of course, his code and his execution over the span of years, catalyzed something that is still compounding today. One man's anonymous post or pseudonymous post on a message board has every government in the world reacting. I mean, even if they say, oh, Bitcoin is bad, so therefore we're doing a Bitcoin inspired thing, just think about the impact that had, right? It's remarkable. It reminds me, Peter Thiel, 3 months actually after the Bitcoin blockchain was launched, but I don't think he was aware of it at that time. He had this quote in April 2009 that really sticks with me where he said, the future is a race between politics and technology, and it may be very close. And our future may depend upon one man who makes the world safe for capitalism. And that's Satoshi. It's like, now he didn't know it was Satoshi at that time. He thought it might be Patrick Friedman, who, by the way, is also a very smart guy and had the concept of competitive government with seasteading and so on. I think seasteading, in retrospect, was early, but I don't think it's never going to happen. I think something like that will happen. Competitive government. Maybe it'll be cloud countries. It's a book I'm coming out with. But the concept of one man who makes the world safe for capitalism, that happened. How amazing is that? That Thiel saw that coming 10 years ago, 11 years ago, the race between politics and technology, right? So,
but those two things, Balaji, are complementary. Like Bitcoin and seasteading are complementary.
absolutely, absolutely complementary. Yeah, that's right. I'm just saying that in terms of immediate material results, crypto like produced them over the last decade, right? Seasteading has a longer burn on it. I think it'll work eventually. All these cruise ships are cheap. The concept is out there. By 2040, 2030, who knows what can happen, right? Some concepts have a long burn. Digital currency had a long burn going from Xiaomi and eCash and whatnot. It was years of people kind of, stoking the fires, keeping the ideas alive. And for Bitcoin to work, by the way, you had to have lots of fairly powerful computers. You needed people to know peer-to-peer networks. There were a lot of things that had to combine, right? And then the cultural moment had to happen. One thing I will say, I remember thinking when Bitcoin came out, like around that time, I was like, is Satoshi too late? Didn't they just already print the money? It's over, right? Like, it was a great idea. I understand why we need it, but it's kind of over now. And of course, he wasn't too late. He was just on time.
Interesting.